The NFL draft is finally here, or like a 1 day away. And, quite frankly, I'm tired of all the NFL draft content. But here at Compas on the Beat, we do it a little different. We got our guy Fernando on the train. Come on, content on the train is probably the best stuff. And then a guy like Victor who just watched the movie Draft Day for the 50th time. So he's probably ready for a bunch of hot takes. So and me, Gilberto, that's a nice picture right there that Fernando has. Me, I'm tired of the draft because I did all my content for SI a week ago and I forgot everything. But you know what? Bring me back here to refresh my memory to give you all the research that I did. And no, Dan. Dan is in Austin, Texas. What a slacker. No, I'm just kidding. Well deserved, Dan. Hopefully you're watching. Comment, by the way, if you're watching, Dan, and enjoying the trip there in Texas. But yes, the Copas are here. Don't scare me. I think that was Fernando or Victor. But the 3 compas are here. No 4 compas this week, but we'll be back next week. But all draft content right now. Victor, how you doing? How's draft day?
Doing good. I always forget some things. It's a tradition that I like to do of watching draft day. I heard our compa Adam Hill likes to do this as well. So I don't feel alone in this, that we get to watch draft day right before the draft. But because it's real life, right? Draft day is exactly how things go. But on a serious note, I am excited. I don't know much. So in terms of all the prospects, I'll be honest, but just some of the storylines that I've been hearing, I can't wait to get into some of these questions.
Fernando, how's that train treating you?
Oh, it's nice. Really relaxing, taking in the scenery. Draft day. I still remember when the Chargers had Tom Telesco watch draft day, and I thought it was pretty interesting to get a GM's perspective on it.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, if my Wi-Fi cuts out, I will try and come in and out, but you guys let me know. Should be an interesting draft. You keep on hearing smoke screens that Ashton Jeanty is going to the Patriots and that somebody's trying to hop up to get Travis Hunter and all this stuff. So we're in a wild, wild time, and I cannot wait to see what happens.
I feel like the best stories could be written on the train, Fernando. So you got a good idea. I feel like all those trees just kind of passing you by, zoom, zoom, zoom. You're like looking out and like cranking out your stories. So I need to do that one of these days, but I have no need to get on the train. That's you, Fernando.
No, it's very comfortable.
Look, you're just doing that. Put your hand on your chin area. You're thinking about it. Yeah, you seem like a smart man.
I would like to think I am, but sometimes I question it.
A little like a jab there. But so you guys are busy people watching movies and being on the train. But from here on out, Victor, you have the questions, so I'll have you lead the charge here. We have draft questions, so let us know what you have for us so we could fire away.
Yeah, so in honor of the movie Draft Day, we're going to start off with what is the player in this draft, or who is your Vontae Mack, no matter what pick? You're not leaving this draft. Who's going to do, you think it's going to do well going forward. I won't say it will be a Hall of Famer, but he's going to be worth the pick.
Am I going first?
Or yeah, you're going to go first.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to go first anyway, so that's why I asked. But I really was thinking about this question, Victor, because I'm like, okay, how do you treat it? Is it somebody that you know for sure is going to be a Hall of Fame player or an All-Pro? Not a Pro Bowler. Anybody could be a Pro Bowler. I could be a Pro Bowler. You guys could be a Pro Bowler. But All-Pro first team or a Hall of Famer? Or is it somebody that you feel like it's kind of a risk here? Nobody is really pounding the table for them, but they're going to be an All-Pro. I think that's the answer here that we're looking for. So I'm going to go with the one I've been telling you guys now for a couple of weeks since I came back from paternity leave. James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher from Tennessee. And yeah, he has some character concerns, some work ethic concerns. Does he love football? Remember that question for Dre Tiller, for Fernando? Does he love football? Maybe I'm taking too much of a chance here. But I talked to a few people for a story at SI. I've seen the draft experts. They all say this guy's a freak athlete. At the combine, he put on the show. Before the season, they asked me to do a mock draft for 2025. I'm like, what the hell do I know before the season? I did my research. James Pierce was supposed to be the #1 pick. People got scared off because he got a speeding ticket. You don't want to have that. So I'm saying all the bad things for him, get it out the way. But he's able to figure it out, clear his mind, put all the traits there, the physical traits that he has, the elite skill set. He could be, I wouldn't call him like Jared Verse because the last year he was number 19, the edge rusher for the Rams, because he's a different player. He's not as like a bull rusher, not as bulky, but he's leaner, taller, very athletic. I'm trying to find a comparison for him, but the Rams like players like that, by the way. They're kind of the leaner types too. Maybe the Falcons could be a landing spot right there. But to me, just what I heard, this guy's really good, but then it's always a but. So I'm gonna go and believe on the he's really good part. So James Pierce Jr. is my Vontae Mack, no matter what here.
All right, let's go to Fernando. Who do you got here?
Travis Hunter. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I hadn't thought about this. I hadn't thought about this until I heard, I think Mike Mayock said it on with Rich Eisen yesterday. He said in the fourth quarter, you're going to need a player that either is going to be able to defend or you're going to need your pass catcher to make a play. Travis is going to be able to do both for them. In the fourth quarter, your corners might be tired. Boom, you throw in Travis Hunter. If you need a touchdown, you throw in Travis Hunter. Now, obviously, Travis, I think, does have a little, like, he still needs to learn both positions 1,000%. I don't think he still has learned how to be a receiver full time. He's going to learn that, but I think Travis is just way too talented of a player. He's been in the spotlight since he was 16 years old, so I don't have character concerns when it comes to him, but I definitely think that Travis Hunter is the guy that I want. And I mean, he learned from one of the greatest corners of all time. So why not bring him into your team and see what he's got? So I've never heard one negative thing about Travis Hunter. So I think he is the guy that you want. And then I think he does a lot of charitable stuff. And he's one of those guys that'll kiss babies, sign autographs, and do all that. So why not have a guy that's marketable and a great player on the field? I want Travis Hunter.
Can I give you one on the field concern? Sorry, Victor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can he hold up playing both positions in the NFL? That's the thing I'm really and like you got to hold up to be a Hall of Famer, and I don't know if you could do it.
I agree. No, and that's going to be the issue. And then when push comes to shove, what side of the ball are you going to be put on? So what if he's playing great as a receiver and he's playing like crap on as a corner? What's going to happen there? So I agree with you. But I mean, I think in this draft, there's no Joe Alt, no player like that where it's like you know exactly what you're going to get. I think everybody kind of has their own question marks, but because like Abdul Carter, another great pass rusher, but his foot injury, how much of a concern is that going to be? So there's a bunch of guys, but I just think with Travis, there's a lot more upside than there is like negative.
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with you there too, because he has that Vontae Mack. If you remember in the movie, he also had like those qualities off the field. So that's where Travis Hunter also has those same type of things. So this one's a good pick.
My nephews love tumbling. Don't you love tumbling nephews? Love that.
There you go. Yep. All right, I'm gonna give you mine. Mine is Ashton Jeanty. There's only been a couple of running backs that I thought in the past 20, 30 years that I, thought that they were legit running backs in terms of they can have a Hall of Fame career. That was like LaDainian Tomlinson, Saquon Barkley, and I think the same of Ashton Jeanty. I feel like they're I get that it's a deep draft. You might get like 20 or 30 running backs drafted in this year's draft. But when I look at Jeanty, even all the scouts are saying that he's a tick above, like he's his own tier, and then you have like the Omarion Hamptons and then the rest of the running backs. And so for me, it's like I understand you don't want to take a flyer on him in the top 10, but if you let him slip to like the Bears or something who are trying to fix their offensive line, it makes a lot of sense why the Bears would draft him. I just think he's a generational pick here, and so wherever he goes, I don't care if it's a top, whether he goes to the Jaguars, the Raiders, or even the Bears. I just feel like when you have a generational player like this, you go ahead and you take him at any point. So I just feel like you have to at least, if you have a pick, you take them there and you don't look back, no matter what people are saying that, hey, you don't draft running backs in the first round, Gilbert.
Yeah, we lost Fernando, but hopefully he comes back from the train. But Victor, I agree with you. That would have been my pick here. You picked them before I did, but also I feel like you guys went a little safer route with Travis Hunter and Jeanty. Like we know these guys are going to be very good, so I'm gonna take credit for that. I got a little more risky with mine here, but yeah, you're gonna pound the table because there is some risk here because he is a running back, and then are you gonna take him in the top 10? And I think you alluded to it, Victor. It's like this is being regarded as one of the draft classes for running backs in a very long time. But Ashton Jeanty's on a level on his own. That tells you a lot. These other guys are very good. The two guys from Ohio State and the guy from North Carolina, Hampton. You got Caleb Johnson. You got Cam Scatterbo. You got R.J. Harvey from Central Florida. I'm trying to remember all these names here. And this guy is much better than those guys. That tells me a lot here. So to me, I like the Jeanty as a pick here. But can he do more out of the backfield? Saquon Barkley, like that's what made Saquon Barkley generational talent. I know we hate to throw that, or I hate to throw that word around.
Yeah.
But people do it this time of year. But Saquon Barkley is that guy, and I think he needed to leave New York to show that. But to be out of the backfield, to be a good blocker, to run between the tackles, to create holes for yourself, Jeanty does that in terms of being the running back. But can he do more of that out of the backfield? That's my only concern here. But people saw him do that his junior year, and they said, you know what, that's enough for me. We're okay with that. And what if he's Derrick Henry? That's still very good too, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame player. Derrick Henry's going to go. He led the league in rushing. For what is it, 4 straight years or 3 straight years there with the Titans. So yeah, that's what you want out of a Bonte Mack type of pick here. All right, moving on, Gilbert. Our next one is there a Bo Callahan type player you're staying away from in this draft? It doesn't have to be in the first round. It's just a player you're just not gonna go ahead and draft.
Yeah, this one was a little tough for me because it's always hard to tell who's not going to be a good player, and probably SI is going to make me right. Potential draft bust from 2025, and I hate doing that every year. But I should probably look at the one I did for 2024. It's probably not good at all. But going here because, like I just mentioned, with the running backs and how loaded it is, and then one guy is much better than the other. What if it's just one really good guy and the other guys are not that good? Again, I did a story for SI on the running backs, and I was surprised what I heard from North Carolina running back Omarion Hampton, where he's more of a volume runner. And I'm not saying it's going to be a big knock, but running backs will need carries to get going. You take your quarterback out of the rhythm. You're building more plays for the guy when you're a little more slow. I get, if he's a good running back in the fourth quarter and you got to feed the guy to close the game, I'm okay with that. But in the beginning of the game, to force feed him, I don't like that. And that's kind of what I heard in terms of Hampton. He's a volume runner. He needs the ball to get going. He's pretty good in the RPO game. He could help you out of the backfield too. But are we sure he's going to be is he the number 2 guy? What about Travion Henderson from, Ohio State? He sounds like he's more explosive than Hampton. What about Judkins from Ohio State? Also, he's more physical than Hampton. So to me, it's like, what is Hampton's elite trait? And then also, you need to get fed the ball to get going. The guys who make the touches count, be efficient. When you get 10 to 12 and you're able to, run up the rushing yards and make an impact, those are the guys that I really like. Yeah, I'm okay with Derrick Henry getting 30 touches, but if you're a rookie, make an impact, or say you're a rookie that falls to like a Josh Allen, you're not going to get the ball, 30 to 40, whatever, 30 times. 40 is too much. But to me, that kind of worries me. I'm not going to say it's going to be a total knock on the guy, but if I'm able to get Hampton at 12 or Judkins in the second round, I'm going to take the guy in the second round all day, who is pretty much the same player to me. So from that standpoint, from a value standpoint, I'm going to go with Hampton. I feel bad about that because I've heard good things about him too. It's just a whole giving him the ball too much. I think to me, that's more kind of okay, I'm good here, especially for a top 12, top 15 pick.
Do you want to know who you had as your 5 bust from last year?
If you have it, go ahead, Fernando.
Let me start off. Number 5, Jordan Morgan from the Green Bay Packers.
Arizona. He didn't do anything. He didn't play.
Number 4, Michael Penix.
Okay, maybe.
Number 3, Malik Neighbors.
No, damn it.
Wow. Number 2, Jaden Daniels.
What? I went with him?
Number 1, J.J. McCarthy.
I didn't have Bo Nix in there?
No.
What? Are you sure that's my story?
Dude, I swear.
Wow.
5 2024 picks.
Okay, McCarthy didn't play.
Yeah,
I'll take that one. Penix only played 3 games. I'll take credit, but I was so wrong on Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels. I think I went more about where they landed. I think that was my thinking.
I wonder if you did it after or before. I went after the draft.
It probably was like April. What's the date on it?
May 2nd.
Oh, yeah, it was after.
So a week after. I don't know what to think at that point. And I probably fell in love with Jaden Daniels in the summertime. Yeah, this shows what I know at that point. But to me, it was more about where they were going to be in situation. I don't know what the hell Washington was going to do.
It is what it is. We didn't know Washington was going to be.
Yeah.
But I'll count. Was it 3 out of 5, right? Yeah, Jaden and Malik Neighbors, no. But even Neighbors, like we mentioned today, Fernando, I told you I thought Brian Thomas Jr. had a better year than Malik Neighbors.
I agree with that.
I went with Tyler Shough, right?
Shough.
Sorry.
Pretend it's a K at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler Shough from Louisville. The reason why I went with him is he was Justin Herbert's backup when Justin Herbert was at Oregon. He's had multiple injuries. He's 26 years old. He's that older, solid quarterback. I just don't know how long he's going to be able to go. Is he able to adapt to the NFL? Maybe if you sit him for 2 years, but then you sit him for 2 years, he's going to be 28, 29 years old when he starts. There's a lot of negatives when it comes to this, and people are talking about him being a first-round draft pick. So I just don't. I'm not buying the hype. I wouldn't touch him. I'd rather go another route with the quarterback position, or I would just rather not select a quarterback. But I am not drafting Kyler.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is because he had a great combine. Like everybody, he's one of those guys that actually went and threw, and then people just were like, yeah, he has all the tools. They went back and looked at his tape, and like you said, that the biggest concern for people is his injuries, and also like he would have been a value pick if he would have gone in the second or third round. I think, as you said, taking him in the first round, that might be a little bit too rich for people.
That's way too high. I believe it. And at some point, if you're playing in college since 2018, like, are you good or not? Can you play? And then he got hurt for 3 years in a row at Texas Tech. To me, there are red flags here. He could be a very good backup, but to be a first-round pick, I don't see it.
That's another thing. He did switch a lot. He transferred a lot, so that kind of tells
Oregon,
you.
Texas Tech, Louisville.
And it's not because of personality or this or that. It was just because of the injuries, and the next guy was coming up at every single school, so he had to decide to go somewhere else. But I just think that there's too many negatives than there are positives when it comes to him.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mine, I'm gonna go fast here. Is Shamar Moore? This is to me the Tyree Wilson pick. Like he only had, he had a bunch of pressures, but he only had 1.5 sacks last year. And my biggest thing is, yeah, you can have the pressures like Max Crosby, but you need to be able to sack the quarterback. And for him not to have that, that's something I just try to stay away from guys like this. These guys move up the draft, and I get, defensive ends, linebackers, they'll move up to draft just because, they have the tools. He's like 6'6", 250, 270. And so they look the part. And that was the same thing that happened with Tyree Wilson with the Raiders. A lot of people fell in love with his size, and we're still waiting to see what Tyree Wilson is going to turn into. If you're going to use a first round pick, you don't want to do it on a developmental guy, especially if it's a top 15 pick. You just don't want to do that.
Victor, I'm guessing you watched a lot of Soul Train growing up because Shamar Moore, used to be the host of Soul Train.
Shamar Stewart. Sorry,
I looked him up right now. Shamar Moore.
Yeah,
he's an actor, but yes.
Yeah, he's an actor. Yeah, and I just recently saw him at work too, so that's why his name was on my mind. But Shamar Stewart, you're right, the defensive end from Texas A&M.
Fun fact: Shamar Stewart only got a 1.5 sacks 3 years in a row, which is kind of weird to me. But
yeah, that is not something that you want to have from a top 15 pick, and most mock drafts have them going in the top 20. So that is.
We were talking about the Michigan head coach.
Oh yeah, Shamar. Is that his name too?
Yeah, Shamar Moore.
Shamar Moore. Okay. See, look at that.
Yeah, Shamar Moore and Shamar Moore. That's right.
I'm over here switching up names, and I tend to do that.
There's actually two Shamars from the same school in this draft. Shamar Turner, the defensive tackle at A&M.
Yeah, look at that.
Popular name.
Oh, look at that. Look at that scene from Fernando there. Who will be the Sonny Weaver of this draft, the GM that will make multiple trades? Let's start off with you, Gilbert.
I think Joe Schoen from the New York Giants is feeling the heat. It's got to be now or never. You blew it with Saquon Barkley. You had to hear about that for the whole year. He won the damn Super Bowl. John Maher is still running in circles in his office. Like, what the hell did we do? What did we do in Joe Schoen here? And then obviously He went for Brian Burns. That didn't really work out. Are you going to do it again with an edge rusher? Is it Abdul Carter? Maybe Brian Dable was saying, hey, we need a freaking quarterback, man. What are we going to do here? Maybe they trade down. Maybe they take Shadur Sanders right now at number 3. People would lose their mind saying that's a reach. Guys like me will put draft buzz stories on Shamar Stewart, Shadur Sanders, a lot of she's or Shadu or whatever. But I think there's something's gonna be something with Joe Schoen. Either he's gonna get Abdul Carter at number 3, trade back into the first round to take the quarterback. I could definitely see that, or trade down or something, or maybe just surprise us and take another wide receiver at number 3. I don't know. But Joe Schoen, you're feeling the heat. If I'm Brian Dable, I'm probably saying, dude, you're screwing it up for me. I'm this wizard guy. I'm the offensive-minded guru here. Do something, please. So I could definitely see him freaking out and doing something aggressive.
Yeah, especially with what happened on Hard Knocks. All right, let's go to Fernando. Fernando. Oh, did we lose?
He might have lost the Wi-Fi.
No, there we go. He's good.
I'm good?
Yes, you're good.
A little blurry, but you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I went Howie Roseman. I think Howie lost. Yeah. Am I good?
Yes.
Not really, but
No.
you're back now. You're back now. Yeah, you're good now.
Or Vic, why don't you go and wait? Okay,
All right.
Are you sure?
Will do. All right, hold on. Let me move
Yeah.
you. There we go. All right. I'm gonna go with Dan Morgan of the Panthers. We saw what happened with Bryce Young. He started playing a lot better in the second half of the season. I really like what they've kind of built there. I know it's not a lot of flashiness from them, but I feel like if certain guys fall, I can see them being a potential team that starts to move around, whether they move up or down, depending. Like, let's say someone like the kid from the defensive tackle from Michigan, Mason Graham falls. Like, I could see him moving up like to 6 or even a couple picks up to try to go and get him. And then also kind of move around in the back end as well. They have 2 second round picks, one that is from the Rams. So I can also see them moving up into the back end of the first round. So I think they're a big possibility. I really like what they might be able to do in this draft, whether it is to move back or even because they need a lot of depth on this team, and so I can see them trying to get as many picks as they can. This is a big running back, defensive tackle, offensive line draft. You want to get a lot of starters, so if they can accumulate a bunch of picks in the top 100, they're gonna be a team that tries to move back and tries to accumulate as many picks as they can.
More defensive tackles. This team allowed 179 rushing yards per game last year. That is terrible.
Yeah. So
Why did they have the Rams second round pick?
They traded to go get Braden Fisk.
Yeah.
And that's why they ended up with the second round pick.
Okay. So I had Howie Roseman. He just coming off winning a Super Bowl, but he lost Josh Sweat. He lost Milton Williams. He lost a bunch of players. I think he's gonna try and wheel deal, try and get some guys to replenish their offense. CJ Gardner-Johnson's also gone, so I think they're gonna try and move, wheel, and deal. The one thing I don't believe AJ Brown is headed to the Tennessee Titans. That one I do not believe. But
I didn't hear that. That's a rumor.
Oh, the New England, some guy from New England tweeted out that he heard that AJ Brown, that if Abdul Carter falls to the Patriots, they could trade AJ Brown and I think their first round draft pick for the 4th overall, and they'd get Abdul Carter and draft him.
Wow. Okay.
But I think Howie Roseman's going to be very busy. The other one I was going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs GM. I think he's going to be really busy as well. Yeah, I think offensive line is a huge weakness for them now. Their defense is starting to get older. We've talked about it. Travis Kelce and some of these guys are getting older. Athir jumped in our wrestling thing the other day and said, Colts trade, he said, if the Colts trade with the Chiefs and give them Coastal Loveland, it's over for us. And I was like, oh, God. I'm like, Jesus. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's my pick.
All right, moving on now. What will be the trend in this year's NFL draft? Since your Wi-Fi is still doing well, we'll go with you first, Fernando. or did we lose Fernando? Yeah, we
I think
lost
edge
Fernando.
rushers.
Okay.
Am I here?
Yeah, we lost him again.
What?
All right, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're good?
move up to here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
here,
Thought we
hold
were
on.
throwing up the ones on the
Here,
screen.
yeah, we're.
What? Am
All
I
right.
good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Edge rushers will go early. I think edge rushers is going to be. I think people want edge rushers. Some of these divisions, like the NFC East, have good quarterbacks. You need pass rushers. I think a bunch of people are going to go pass rusher heavy at the beginning just because of how talented some of these edge rushers are. Again, there's a lot of character concerns on a lot of these guys, but I feel like some of these teams are going to be willing to do it. So I think edge rushers go early in this draft.
All right, Gilbert, you're up next.
Yeah, I think we might not see too many trades. Okay, so everybody's doing the smoke screens right now, and I saw a report. It's gonna be a bunch of trades for the NFL draft. I'm gonna say not in terms of picks. They're gonna trade veteran players. Jalen Ramsey wants out, or I guess Miami wants to get rid of him because they're finally gonna rebuild there. So they probably trade him on draft night. How about Kirk Cousins? He's waiting for a job after all the quarterbacks go. They're gonna trade Kirk Cousins. How about Jair Alexander from the Packers? He's kind of been on the block for a little bit. What about Trey Hendrickson? Maybe he gets traded. Hopefully for Joe Burrow's sake, he doesn't. What about my guy, Anthony Richardson? Maybe they go all in with Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen, you want Daniel Jones? Trade Richardson. What about Mark Andrews? He's been on the trading block ever since he dropped that catch in the playoff game in Buffalo. So it could be a lot of veterans on the move. I think that could happen because all you keep hearing about this draft class not being that good. So if they're not that good, you're not gonna trade up for these players. You're going to trade for veteran players that can help you out right now.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about Joe Shane, I think they might be trading Thibodeau if they draft Abdul Carter. They might be
Good point.
Evan Neal. A lot of fifth-year guys that are up for their fifth-year option. I could see them being traded in this draft. So that's another. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll go next here. Mine is I think defensive tackles are going to dominate the first 3 rounds of this draft. One of the things we've seen why running backs are now, are popular again is what we saw from Saquon Barkley, and the rest of the running backs we saw this past season. And what do you need? You need big defensive tackles. And I think because this is a really good defensive tackle draft, you're going to see about 10 or 15 go in the first 3 rounds. And so people are going to try to that's how you're going to see a lot of people kind of react to what we saw from a lot of the running backs this season, and especially with the running backs that are coming out in this season where you're hearing that you might see 20 to 30 running backs being drafted in this draft. So, yeah, I think that the defensive tackles will dominate the first 3 rounds of this draft.
Yeah, I got the 2 guys from Michigan. It's kind of wild to think that there's a lot of defensive talent for Michigan here. But they won the national championship 2 years ago, so it's not surprising. But Will Johnson, Mason Graham, is it Kenneth Grant, right? And they got a couple other players there. But yeah, this could be 2. You got Harmon from Oregon. You got Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. There's a couple other guys too that I'm blanking on, but it is definitely deep interior defensive lineman NFL draft here.
Yeah, and that's why you saw in free agency said like the Rams overpay for some guys as well. So
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a big theme in this draft. All right, I'll start out with the best case scenario in the first round for the Chargers and Rams. I went with I think the Rams are going to trade out for more picks. As we talked about earlier, they lost their second round pick, and the Rams usually do better when they have those middle picks with less need. I know they hit it out the park with their first 2 picks last season, but I feel like they want more picks. They want to be able to accumulate. I know one of their guys is now with, their big guy in terms of helping with the scouting department is now with the Jaguars. He's now the GM. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in this draft without him. I know Leslie gets a lot of the credit, but I've heard great things about the new GM of the Jaguars. And then with the Chargers, I think they're just going to keep adding to their trenches. I don't see them going away. What the Ravens have done before is whatever the best player available is there at number 22. That's where they're going to go. And I think it's going to be either a defensive tackle like we've talked about, either Grant or an offensive lineman. I just don't see them deviating from their plan.
Good one. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so I remember what I had for the Chargers. So I just spent 30 minutes on
Wait,
Wub saying,
can I
go ahead.
can I go quickly because before my Wi-Fi crashes out?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Real quick. If I'm passing the boobies. If if Coastal Loveland falls into their lap, I feel like that would be the best case scenario for them because Jim Harbaugh knows him. He knows exactly what makes him tick. It's a great receiving weapon for Herbert. But I did say on Webb that I think they're going to go in the trenches, offensive or defensive line. I'll keep that. But best case scenario, if we're talking that way, Coastal Loveland falls right into their lap, and they're able to take him with the 22nd overall pick for the Rams. Sitting right there, you have something for the future. You already have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Well, you have Puka Nacua and you have some other pieces there. You have a young defense.
Fernando, we didn't hear your pick, but I know it's the guy from Ohio State, the wide receiver.
No.
Oh, who was your pick?
What?
Who was your pick?
Jackson
I didn't
Dart.
hear it. Oh,
Jackson
really?
Dart.
I thought about wide receiver. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Well, to me, you cut off on, but when you said the
Sorry.
name.
I said Jackson Dart. I feel like they need a quarterback for the future. They've been putting it off. Now time to go get the quarterback. You sit him for 2 years or a year. You let him learn. Remember what I've said. If you're a quarterback that is struggling, you go to the Rams. You go get help there, and then you go back into the league, and you're going to be good. So I think Jackson Dart could benefit sitting behind Matthew Stafford and learning with Sean McVay.
Yeah, and they've been looking for a guy that can move. Like they want a mobile guy, and McVay has been wanting a mobile guy. That's why I wouldn't put it past them to also keep an eye on Jalen Milroe. Like he's been fascinated with trying to have one of those kind of guys. So if he's there, and what you just said, it would be perfect for Jalen Milroe and the Rams. But we'll see what happens there. All right, since we got you here with good Wi-Fi, one bold prediction for this year's draft. Or did I miss on? Hold on.
Yeah. No, you forgot Gilbert.
Yeah, sorry, Gilbert. My bad.
No, you're good.
That was on me. I jumped in.
No, you're
that's
good.
right.
Going off of the Rams, and then I'll go to Chargers. I was on this kind of quarterback camp for them, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like they're going to go all into helping this year's team because obviously they spent a lot of money for Devontae Adams, who's older. He's still a good player, but he's older. Like you mentioned, Victor, they overspent for Puna Ford. So all the signs are kind of like, let's say, let's go all in. Stafford's final year, we'll worry about quarterback later. So maybe to try to get some impact players for sure in the first round, I feel like. But yeah, you can still get the quarterback in the second round. You never know. And if they do, I'm giving you a bunch of thoughts here, but I don't think it'll be Milroe because he's not a pocket quarterback. I think McVay prefers a little more pocket quarterback. I don't think we've ever really seen him with a mobile quarterback or kind of more 50-50 balance run pass. Dart is not as mobile, but he's good off the bootleg. I mean, we kind of saw that with Jared Goff, but do you want to go with Jared Goff again? I don't know. So to me, I'm going to say they won't go with the quarterback in the first 2 rounds here. Maybe they'll take a chance in the middle. Stetson Bennett, anybody against? Who knows? But, I think I had it in this one here. I went with Jaheed, or just Jaheed or Jihad Campbell from Alabama for one of my stories. And
they
need a linebacker. They need somebody who could do a little bit of
Will Johnson, and you had Ted McMillan.
Yeah, so I wanted to switch it for the Rams because they do need a cornerback. They do need a shutdown cornerback. They need a Will Johnson. Don't go back. I always say this. Don't go back to the X. I don't want to go see them get Jalen Ramsey. Make a move for Will Johnson. Maybe he's right there in the 15, 16 range. Yeah, he got hurt last year, and maybe he wasn't a top 10 pick that people thought he's going to be. But if you're number 26 and you can move up to 16, 17, that's not a bad spot to get Will Johnson. They need a cornerback. I think Fernando agrees with me. He's the best cornerback in this draft here. I know the guy from Texas is a little more versatile, but if you want pure lockdown corner, size, mobility, good footwork, I think it's Will Johnson there. So go ahead and get him because I'm tired of watching the secondary. They're not. They get beat downfield all the time. Obviously, they need more run stoppers too. Maybe you take care of. Maybe it could be cornerback, defensive tackle in the second round because there's more to find in the second round. So that'd be great. And then with the Chargers, I like the scenario that Fernando had for Coastal Loveland. I'll go with the other one, Arizona wide receiver. I'm not going to butcher his first name, McMillan, just because he fits a need there next to Lam McConkey. Maybe this regime doesn't value wide receivers in the first round, but I'm not even sure McMillan's going to be available on number 22. So this might not be a scenario for them. But if he's there, I will bet on his special. He's a specialist. He's not a number one well-rounded wide receiver, and that's okay at number 22. I don't care if you're not going to be Malik Neighbors, who I was wrong on apparently. But you could get the ball 50-50 passes, reliable hands. Can you catch the ball? That'd be great too for the Chargers, and then have a massive catch radius. These are all things that Lam McConkey doesn't provide. He's a very good player. He might be the number one if that's the scenario here. But to me, McMillan on one side, McConkey on the other, and then you got Disley and Conklin at the tight end. It's okay too. And Najee Harris in the backfield. That'd be a great scenario. But obviously, it's going to be trenches. I already know it's going to be either interior defensive line or probably offensive lineman for the Chargers.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going that way. So we'll see what happened. Last one, guys. One bold prediction. We're going to start with Fernando here. His Wi-Fi is doing really well right now, so we want to take advantage of that.
I said McMillan. Wait, no. Who did I have?
You said Colston Loveland falls on the lap.
Wow. Oh no, that was for Chargers, wasn't it?
You have McMillan over Matthew Golden.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Damn, I really did. Yeah, I'll say yeah. I think because of his size, and the way he is. Well, it's because Matthew Golden was. We were talking about McMillan first, then everybody now is on Golden, and then now I think that because everybody's going Golden, I think people just want Ted McMillan to fall in the draft and fall into their laps, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Ted McMillan is the first true wide receiver taken in this draft, not Travis Hunter. I'm talking about true wide receiver. Yeah. Only plays one position. I think he's the first receiver taken in this draft. But I think the kid out of Ohio State's going to be the best receiver taken in this draft. Out of the first round guys.
We lost you.
We lost him.
But the Ohio State wide receiver is getting comparisons to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that means he gets open quickly. He's a reliable target, so I will definitely think he'll have a nice career in the NFL. But for me,
I got you.
Yeah, I had it's been a minute, but I started thinking about it, and stupid Google was wrong. It hasn't been that long for 3 running backs to get drafted in the first round. I think it was maybe 2021. I forget the Najee Harris draft. There might have been 3 running backs, but I forget. But I'm gonna say 3 running backs will get drafted in the first round. Maybe 4 is kind of too much, but everybody talks about how deep this class is. So you could probably get one of the Ohio State running backs at least. You got Jeanty being 2. Maybe North Carolina. I think people are still high on him. I know I was critical of him earlier, but he could probably be another one. Maybe another one's kind of sneaks in there, to make it 3 or 4. But I think they're gonna go. I'm trying to remember what it was last year. Did any running backs get drafted in the first round? I don't think so. So I think it's going to be the opposite this year.
Yeah, and then we saw 2 years ago, I think it was the one where with what's his name from the Lions that went early.
Oh, that was 2 years ago. Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson were
those were
12.
Jahmyr top 12. He was at WrestleMania too.
Oh yeah, I saw him with his girlfriend.
Nice. All right, mine, just to finish it off here, guys, I'm going to say that 5 quarterbacks get drafted in the first round. And I think part of my reasoning for this is we talked about like those teams in the back end, like the Bills and the Chiefs, they want to accumulate more draft picks. And a lot of those teams that are in the second round, early second round, are going to try to trade into the first round because they want to get that fifth year option for that quarterback, because once they hit the second round, then you're in that type of thing where you're having to pay guys like Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott early rather than being able to develop your quarterback. You want to have that 5th year option. So guys like, I feel like, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are going to go 1-2. And then you have Jason Dart, Jalen Milroe, and Tyler Shough. I think those guys are going to go on the back end. I think a lot of those teams are going to trade in to try to get their developmental quarterback because they don't want to wait and they want to make sure they get that 5th year option on those quarterbacks.
I'll be shocked if 5 go, but it'll be funny after everybody says how terrible this quarterback class is. 5 go in the first round.
Yeah, but yep, that's it. That's our draft day predictions show, Gilbert.
Yeah, that was a nice little breakdown here of all these questions. We got Fernando on the train. I think he stopped on the train, or that's bad Wi-Fi. Who knows? But it's a nice picture of Fernando. Hopefully he makes it home safely. and Victor go back to watching draft day.
Yes.
And I don't know what I'll do. I'll go try find sleep before the draft because it's been a long few months being a parent. But I'm ready for the NFL draft. I'm actually kind of pumped to take care of these draft picks or draft grades I'm going to be doing at SI. But check out all the content here at Compas on the Beat. We had a video earlier today on What's Up Bolts breaking down the Chargers draft, and we're about to get ready to do one for the Rams on House of Horns. So check that out later. I'm guessing it'll be posted by Wednesday. If you're watching it on Wednesday, go ahead and check that out. So much content as Fernando is blasting music. But Fernando, any words before we leave or before you lose the Wi-Fi?
What do you? Go check out all of our content. It's great.
There
It's
you
not
go.
me screaming.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
So, give me the veterans that you mentioned. Where do you have them going? That's a question I have for you.
So
Jalen
what?
Ramsey and all those veterans.
Yeah, where do
Jalen
you
Ramsey.
have them
Oh.
being traded? The veteran guys.
I haven't thought about it that much, but Anthony Richardson goes to the Steelers, not Jalen Milroe. Who else? Jalen Ramsey does not go to the Rams. How about that? How about he goes with the Chargers, Fernando? I don't think it's going to happen either, but I really don't know. I haven't thought about it that much. But I'll say maybe it would be two or three trades from those names that I gave you.
That would have to be like a Derwin going to Jim and saying, "Hey, we really need him. I think he's a difference maker, and maybe we make Miami most of that money." But that's a team that everybody thinks is going to implode this year. By the way, you see that video of Tyreek Hill pulling a Michael Jackson allegedly?
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't seen it, but okay.
Oh, it's crazy. But a lot of people think that team's going to implode this year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But again, thank you to everybody for joining us. This was, you know what? Let's just next year we'll call it Vic's Compas Draft Day. So we'll have him call it that because this is his day. We appreciate you, Vic, for getting us together to do this. This was fun.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys check out all the content. Hey, if you guys are boxing fans, we talked to Ryan Garcia last week in San Diego. Awesome. El Tío Oscar De La Hoya, spoke to him. Had a bunch of stuff from over there, so make sure you guys check all that stuff out and get ready for the draft. It's going to be a fun draft. I always love the draft. It's interesting. The first day I like it. The second day it's cool. The third day I'm like, all right, let's get this shit over with. So it's always fun.
Yes.
What do you have coming up on What's Up Bolts?
Well, Gilbert and I just shot an episode, so make sure you guys check that out. 3 people asked, "Where's Dan?" One person asked, "Who is Dan?"
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny. And so Dan and I will be jumping on Thursday night after the draft to talk about what Jim Harbaugh said, what Joe Ortiz said. Friday, same thing, and then probably next Monday or Tuesday, we're gonna get together and discuss everything that happened with the draft pick. So, yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of everything. What about you guys?
Yeah, we have one. We're about to record right now, but I'll be posted by Wednesday. And check out everything we're doing at House of Horns. And then next week, Dan will come back and we're going to break down the entire NFL draft on Compas on the Beat. Well, 4 Compas to be exact on Tuesday. So a lot going on here on the network, but let's get going here because we got to record that video with Victor for House of Horns to talk some Rams. I haven't talked Rams in a long time, so we'll do that right now. But this was fun getting together quickly to discuss the NFL draft 2025. The Tennessee Titans are on the clock. Go ahead and take Cam Ward. Number 2, Travis Hunter. Number 3 is probably the real surprise here, but it's time to get going.
By the way, hold on. By the way, I left that Rams seat hot and ready for you. I farted in it a couple of times, but there you go.
Okay.
It's your seat. It's back to
that is
yours.
the best way to end the show. It's talking farts here, but I'm gonna go to that hot fart seat. Nos vamos, pues. Vámonos.